Hi everyone, this is Killshot from 99 Gaming. This is The Walking Dead Season 10, Episode 6, Easter eggs, hidden clues, recaps, and news. Brand new segment. We started doing it last week. This is a combination of a whole lot of things that we've been doing over the last couple years. We certainly want to give some of the recap element, but there's just too many tidbits and nuggets and clues out there for us to ignore any longer. I think there's some really good references, so hopefully you guys are looking forward to some of those. I'm going to ask you guys to add some of your very own tonight. Maybe we'll funnel some things down that we might have missed. The one thing I am going to ask everybody, though, especially over the next couple weeks, as we know, spoilers could leak out a little bit tomorrow, a little bit Wednesday, a little bit Thursday. Any confirmed spoilers that come out, please keep them off of these streams. We're going to be doing our recaps, just some candid conversation about it. Thursday night, we will do our spoiler stream, and that's going to give people the opportunity to get in or get out if they want. But there's a whole lot of people that want to talk about the show that don't want information that's going to start floating around. So if you do post confirmed spoilers, then I'm gonna exit you. That's just what we do here, everybody. Sorry. All right, let's jump into a special shout out to the Patreon Army. Thank you for everything that you guys do. And let's start it out with, the first scene was Carol kind of waking up, getting her coffee ready. And not everything, has a hidden message or a clue or something to it. But I did think it was interesting. A couple things out of the opening scene that I thought really stood out is Carol kind of pausing and opening the drawer and not knowing if she was going to take the gun or not take the gun. And then we get to see Daryl. Daryl's smoking again. I do have a question for the group. Are these like custom rolled cigarettes, or is Daryl smoking weed? I mean, what do you think the current state of Daryl and Alexandria? Because, there were some scenes with him and Carol last season. You think he's like, getting up, torching a couple when he gets up, and then custom rolled. I just something that kind of occurred to me. We should ask these things, right? Rolex says, long live the Kang, killing it this season. She absolutely is. Whatever he can find. Yeah, it's, could affect his state of mind. But we're going to, all throughout this, there were some really, really solid scenes. But when Carol and Daryl got out there, this is something that stood out. Am I the only person noticed that, like, these maps they have always look like they just opened them, like they just picked them up? Where are they getting these brand new maps? And at this point, can these maps even be used? It's like they're in Virginia, and they're doing it like, they just drive down the road and just make a right at the next 7-Eleven. So yeah, I guess they got printing presses and they can do their own maps. But just a shout out. I would expect to see an old beat up map at this point. But something that was, I think, a little bit more intended and a little bit more impactful was the double cap. There were 2 or 3 things that happened in the Carol and Daryl scene that I think really stood out. One is the acorn. They're throwing the acorns, and Daryl has he gets a double cap, sticks it in his pocket. So we're wondering if there's going to be a luck element at some point, because I don't know that they got extremely lucky with all the things that happened in this episode. It looks as if with that hostage they picked up, they're unlucky. But what did you guys think about the conversation between Daryl and Carol when he was mentioning Ezekiel, and that didn't really, King sends his best. But when she started drilling down and talking about Connie, he got his aim, right? He got his focus. That timing could not have been better. And it certainly looked as if it's like, hey, you know what? I see where you're going with that, Dark Star. Yes. Tied into it was foreshadowing of the Negan skin suit later on. But these were tiny acorns. So was it saying that Daryl's walking around with tiny acorns and Negan is walking around with humongous ball? Hey, you brought it up. So I wasn't going to juxtapose those two topics, but in all seriousness, she brought up some good points. And when she mentioned Connie and she said you can't roam around with your dog, Daryl kind of got the look on his face like, yeah, you might be right. But once he started thinking about Connie, he got his aim. I also thought it was important that she talked about, Mr. Crossbow and you're supposed to be good aim. Did we potentially see a foreshadowing of something that could play out in the future? Will Daryl be in a situation, I'm not saying it's going to be like, the apple on top of somebody's head, but is Daryl going to be at a situation where he has to choose and take a shot? Could they be planting the seed for Daryl making a clutch shot later on, and it has to do with Connie? Just something to think about. Something to think about. Maybe a choice between Kelly and Connie? Think about that. If Kelly and Connie were both in a tough situation, and we talk about the guilt of one person being chosen over the other one and how that potentially could play out, would Connie forgive Daryl? There's got to be something that is going to sever, pun fully intended, will sever the relationship. Is there anybody here that feels like the Connie-Daryl relationship has some permanence to it? Or that Daryl's afraid to get close to her because he knows that these relationships don't work out? DeMilo Young says he wants to get close to her. Movie star, I think Daryl's ready to take a chance. Okay. I'm not saying he's not due and he doesn't deserve it. He did learn sign language. But isn't it a little bit hypocritical? Okay, you guys remember Daryl said to Carol, and he said, "Hey, why didn't you just come out and say it?" So he's giving Carol a hard time about her master plan, and, she wants to get rid of Alpha's horde. But then when Carol asks Daryl about relationships, and she says, "I see things," what does he say? "I'm going to give a kills coin to the first person who can correctly answer Daryl's response when Carol says, 'I see things.'" If you guys don't know what a kills coin is, it is a virtual currency that you will be able to use for Freestyle Friday. It ain't like that. Andrew Smith. There you go. Kel, can you add Andrew Smith to the ledger? Andrew, join us Freestyle Friday. You'll be able to use that for a super chat. So Daryl's giving Carol a hard time about being honest with her plans, but then when Carol asks Daryl, pins him down on a relationship, he says it's not like that. But it is like that. Because as we've stated, he's learning sign language. Last week, or the week before this past week, Connie looks at Daryl and says, family, and points like, "Are you and me family?" And he gets this, shy little grin, and then he rides his bike away. So it is like that. Just saying. Just point of reference. But Carol saying to Daryl, mentioning Mr. Crossbow about the aim, and then Daryl hitting his target with Connie, to me that states there could be something on the horizon for the future. Just keep that in mind. Okay. Eugene gets on the radio. And his code name is what, everybody? Eugene has to come up with something quick. He is tater bug. All right, Kills coin to the first person that can tell me what is a tater bug. Oh, you guys better get your Google quick. I'm looking for a specific name here. A tater bug is a what? Can't be random. It is not a bug that eats potatoes. Come on, everybody. Google is your friend. You guys are killing me with this. A potato root. Not a love interest. There you go. Tammy Hill, first person to get it. It is a mandolin. It is a stringed instrument. Could Eugene's quick wit and becoming a tater bug, a mandolin, which is a stringed instrument, could that be a call to Luke? He and Luke have had some very interesting conversations. We know Luke likes the stringed instruments, so tater bug is a mandolin. Interesting tidbit. So, once again, possible hidden clue. Keep the ledger going, Kels. Keep the ledger going. So, tater bug. Another interesting little fact. I like the whole America Online chat room vibe that he and supposedly Stephanie have going on. But he kind of gets the, age, sex, location. And I don't know that this is a hidden clue per se, but I do think the references to Strasburg, Pennsylvania, the ice cream parlors, the locomotives. Pennsylvania is known for what? What resource is Pennsylvania known for? Steel. So you got locomotives, you got steel. This kind of screamed out to me fortress, right? Safety, fortress. And I know some of these, like I said, they're going to be minor hidden clues. Pennsylvania is known for cows. Steel. Pittsburgh Steelers. So think bigger picture. I know that there were rumors out there that the skyline for the Rick Grimes movie looked like Philadelphia. So if we've got Strasburg, we've got an area with some resources, we've got a skyline that potentially could be somewhere in Pennsylvania, not too far away, possibly radio range, Pennsylvania, not that far from Virginia, few hours. Once again, I think these are things that do need to be discussed. They do need to be analyzed a little bit. But now you could possibly see the connection between the information that Eugene is finding out and the transition to the next group. Okay. When Siddiq talked to Dante, how many people were initially sick. Seven. Just want to throw it out there. How many deadly sins are there? 7. I'm not saying that I'm a numerologist, but I think 7 has some impact. There were some references that between 7 and then Cheryl with the Grim Reaper comment, these have some impact. I mean, heck, they may cross the border 7 times before it's all said and done. But regardless, there's a lot more sick now. But the Grim Reaper reference, a couple more. This one really, really hit home to me. And I will jump around a little bit. I mentioned this in a previous stream. So when, at the very end, when Negan is supposedly surrounded, the odds are against him, all those walkers are attacking him, and he walks in. He walks in, he's got a piece of wood. This one I thought was very, very symbolic. The whispers parted. Kind of like Moses parting the Red Sea. Ironically enough, Negan had a makeshift Lucille. Moses had a staff, and the staff was mentioned in both the Bible and the Quran. So, not just one-sided religious reference here. This is something that is, Negan has a makeshift staff, not a Lucille, and he actually kneels down and says, everything I have is yours, and presents this to Alpha. So, another interesting tidbit. We also had, I don't know that it's a hidden clue, but I certainly like the whisper sharing and not lasting very long. There were a lot of good, I think the storyline was good here. I don't know if it's an Easter egg, but the way they set up the Negan story, the observation of the Neil, the antagonizing of Beta, sitting beside the Whisperer, and I think it just shows a little bit of consequence. It showed that they're a lawless society, and they have their laws are implied. And if you don't know the rules, I guess if we really wanted to make this about a hidden clue, and you could go back to Negan almost and say, there are rules. Well, unfortunately, the Whisperer that was beside Negan did not know the Whisperer rules. So maybe not a hidden clue, but certainly some ironic injustice, as it were. You share with Negan, you probably end up dead. Beta was certainly scoping that out. But I still think Negan was able to one-up the group there. So let's go through a little bit of the events. Those are some of the major Easter eggs and hidden clues I found. But I did like the... was there a nice subtle message that you don't go through your significant other's purse whenever they go to the bathroom? I'm sure we could take that in a whole lot of different directions. But one, he did it. Number two, he got busted for it. But I thought that was a nice, kind of a modern wake-up call. And he was like sneaky fast, right? Like, she just, did you find what you're looking for? We're always watching, says Newfield 12. Well, Kel says never go through a woman's purse, but I was being politically correct. I mean, it doesn't have to be a woman's purse. It could be anyone's purse, wallet, cell phone. A satchel? Sure. Don't touch my stuff. Fair enough. I think that's all encompassing. So, Dante. Dante makes a very chilling comment. And I want you guys just to take note of this comment where he said to Cheryl. He certainly flirted, but he said something very profound. And he said, the heart wants what the heart wants. But Dante also said, I got it. We have to keep them hydrated. So if the water is the problem, and Dante is keeping everybody hydrated, then that certainly is an issue. It's like the poison could be right there, and we're poisoning more people. When Negan gets captured, Negan makes the comment, I'm Negan. For 8 years I've been locked up by your enemy. Take me to your leader and I'll spill every secret I know. So, let's talk about the potential secrets that Negan could divulge to Alpha to give them the upper hand. Now, we think that Negan is going to feed her some misinformation. But let's get a couple thoughts out there. What's some ideas? Now, the Lydia thing doesn't make sense. Amanda Goss, that is a very nice super chat. That's what Cheryl's face looks like. Yeah. So if you drink water in Alexandria, that's exactly what's going to happen to you. Thank you so much for that super chat. Very well timed. No, he's not going to give a Lydia hint. One other kind of a inadvertent Easter egg. I know a lot of people wanted to, when there was a skinning contest going on, there were a few things, right? It's like, whatever you can do, I can do better. It wasn't just the Negan cut off a small patch and Beta had a bigger patch. If you guys noticed, Negan was struggling with dragging one walker, and Beta comes over here with walkers on each shoulder and sets them down. But I would say that if you're looking for a pun, I think Beta and Negan both have skin in the game, literally. So, certainly a nice inadvertent clue there. Dark Star giving the stream a thumbs up with a super sticker. Many of you might have missed the earlier stream, but I will take a moment, let you guys know it's a brand new YouTube thing that's out there for live streams, for gaming streams. The super stickers, we're going to have a lot of fun with these during Freestyle Friday and our Play Dead Live. There's literally probably 100 different stickers. So, of course, I love the super chats because the super chats always, we divert the conversation of what you guys want to talk about. But if you just want to drop in and say hello or give a custom emoji, there's a whole lot of new stickers that are down there that do some really cool things. My favorite is the game over one. That's the one I like to use when something happens. It was sticker crazy earlier. So even if you don't always use them, just check them out. See what they are because I think it's a cool new feature. There was some good Eugene chat with Nabila. I don't know if you guys caught all this, but I think Eugene said I think he combined a little bit of French and Russian. I think he said Polyvu Russian or something along those lines. Nabila's following along pretty well, but you haven't lived until you bounce a transmission off the ionosphere. But he did say the transmitter has been properly souped up with Soviet satellite guts. So we do know that the parts from the satellite are being used. Now, hopefully there's no additional issues or radiation or problems. But I do want to ask you guys, are the parts from the satellite, is the radio transmission the only thing he was able to soup up? Or do you think there's some additional parts? And will the satellite be a bigger benefit? Is there something else? I don't think there's like surveillance that's out there. I think that would be a little bit of a stretch. But I promised I would do this, and I did not follow through on my promise. I don't know what all a satellite entails, what things you can get from a satellite that can be used for other things other than communication. Extends the range of communications. Well, that certainly helped. I agree, Dark Star. We'll just do this as a recap. I don't know that there was major Easter eggs or anything in this scene, but I will say one of my personal favorite scenes were the mending or the forgiveness of the Eugene-Rosita relationship. I know many of you said that the Negan one-liners and the whisper scenes were the best. I really, really enjoyed the real professional reactions of Kristen Serratos when she was doing the scene with Eugene. It felt genuine. I could probably ask you guys if you agree with that or you don't agree with that. I mean, I think that's a loaded question. But the reason I enjoyed that is I really like when these actors have solo scenes and you can see the facial expressions. I felt her loneliness. That's the only way I can say it. How about that? That she didn't know what she had in Eugene until Eugene is gone. And when she was very open and honest, that you almost, I don't want to use the word slut with Rosita, but I do have to say She is a person of indecision. She likes what she likes, right? She had her some Abraham. She had her some Spencer. She had her some Saddiq. She had her some Father G. And it's almost as if, like, make up your mind, Rosita, that she certainly looks as if she has an affection for Eugene. That there's a genuine affection because they've already played the friend card. And I don't think it benefits her at this point to say, hey, how you doing? Oh, by the way, remember that friend thing I established? Let's go back to that. I think that has been blown up. That's gone. So when she reaches out to Eugene, I don't think it was just to reestablish where they're at. I think it was to advance their situation. I think she now has stronger feelings for Eugene, than she does for anybody else. I don't know, Jay Smart. I don't think it's like a brother. Like, I felt that there is an attraction. It was starting to happen, and I think she lashed out at him because she was afraid it was happening, and she wasn't telling Eugene that this will never happen. She was saying it to herself because she felt guilty about it. So think about that. They came back and they had the whole, like, you know, you're as mean as a mama wasp. And that was their bonding moment. And then when he's starting to open up to her, she's like, damn it, Eugene, I told you this wasn't going to happen. I think that's, damn it, Rosita, you can't be letting this happen because you're already with this person, and now let's think of how complicated this is going to be when you decide this is the person you really want. It's a problem. Got a couple super chats. We got Lynn Nesvik getting a super sticker. Thank you so much, Lynn. I appreciate that. We got tons of super stickers going on. This is becoming madness. Amanda Goss, Rosita didn't know what she had till he was gone, and she knows he truly cares for her. So, Amanda, I think that's a great point, and I think it's a combination. Like, Siddiq was a calmer version of Spencer. You know, that's kind of the sexy, right? Hey, you're available. We hooked up. Oh, by the way, I'm pregnant. Father G was her soul. Like, you can't get any more stable than a priest. But that just didn't seem right for Rosita, does it? Didn't that seem like a little bit extreme? I need you because, well, you're stable. Yes, you're going to be there, and you're going to help keep me in line. All the things that I did, there's a lot more to it. And now you got Eugene, who she didn't have these moments, right? You don't see her and Father G making little casual small talk and jokes and having a good time. You saw it as, you went to work today, I went to work today, you came home, what did you do today? Well, you know, the council did this. Okay, cool, I'm going to put the baby to bed. Very boring. But Eugene started realizing, you know, that moment. How many people in here had a moment where you realized you're like a geek, you're like a nerd? You know that moment you realize that, and maybe you don't realize it till you're with someone that brings it out of you? Rosita just realized she wants to play D&D on Friday nights. Took her that long to realize it, but Eugene finally brought it out of her. And when I saw that scene with her, she initiated the conversation, and she even went so far as to say, hey, I'm gonna call you up later. Just watch that and watch Eugene's demeanor change later on. Bamber Kitty, I've experienced getting really sick and suddenly regretting having rejected a man who really cared for me. I mean, I think everybody's been in that situation, Bam or Kitty. I think it's there are multiple types of relationships. This is not going to turn into Dr. Drew, but hey, you know what? Let's do it. Hey, this is Dr. Drew Love Line with Kills. Go ahead and fire away. Ask me your love questions, and we'll get to the bottom of it. No, but I think there's different relationships that work for different people. There's those wild and crazy, that person makes you want to go out and skydive. There's that consistency. And then, if you're lucky, you get all of those. And I'm sure there's people in here that are going to raise their hand and say, look, person I got all those things. I think Eugene, and even when he says, everybody wants a slice of Eugene, she kind of got this smile, but she also got this concern. Almost as if Eugene is a diamond in the rough. Like he could be somebody that could make people laugh and could bring that thing, bring those emotions out of people. And maybe she's afraid that she lost it. And the bigger question I want to ask you guys is, has that ship sailed? Eugene didn't get the follow-up conversation from Rosita. And Rosita is extremely sick. So, was that potentially their last conversation? Leave your thoughts and comments. And I love the honest answers in here. Wasn't trying to pry. Wasn't trying to get anybody to kind of open up about their relationship situation. But let me also say that, did you guys feel that there was a transition with Eugene twofold? One, when he was honest with Rosita that he was using her. He was using their friendship for more. And number two, didn't it seem like he got a few pointers from Luke? Like, wait a minute, this guy Luke is like me, but yet he's going to the beach and he's got Jules there waiting for him. What is the difference between him and me? And I think Eugene is going to start to tailor his style a little bit more, a la comic book. And when he started to show Rosita that she wasn't the center of his universe, it might have made her want to be more the center of his universe. Just don't think that's long-term either. But I do think anything that happens with Rosita, and I do think Rosita is big on the chopping block this season, is going to push Eugene's arc full speed ahead. Yeah, there we go. I think needy is a much better description. I think what's the bigger revelation from this stream is like all the woman tricks that are coming out. Like I see people like, hey, yeah, that's kind of what I do, and the honesty is coming out. We're gonna have to do more of these streams. You can learn more about people just by watching The Walking Dead. Who would have known? We talked about the Daryl and Carol acorn toss. Funny that on the opposite side, we've got a different type of female. So what do you guys feel about Alpha's position and the references that Beta has interest in Alpha and Negan insinuates he has some interest? Now, it may not be to that drastic level because Alpha reciprocates differently. As we said, all you're going to get is a high five from Alpha, probably. But you certainly have a different approach. Alpha, I feel like Alpha's going to take what she wants. Interesting. So Taya says when Alpha sniffed Negan, that's a sign of affection. And she certainly did. I mean, that was either, but who was that meant for? Was that meant for Negan? Was it meant for Beta? Or was it meant for all the whispers to see? Leave your thoughts and comments on that. What's the significance of the Alpha sniff technique? Beta did get jealous. Yeah, great point, Rock. The first time Alpha pulls a worm out of the ground and feeds it to Negan, too far gone. A lot of good comments with the, can she smell fear? Well, I don't think you're going to smell any fear with Negan. I mean, certainly we could say that could be an Easter egg. I think it's more of an obvious statement to everybody there of, and then shh, you hear a whisper. I mean, he wasn't really talking at the time, so I think the whole shh means you're in. You're one of us. She smells no fear, and then she tells him, hey, you're here. Good. Siddiq does make a visit to the infirmary. Somebody mentioned earlier stream, they bring Coco there. Bad idea. I mean, I guess you can't take Rosita without Coco, but certainly Coco's going to get sick. I do have to tell you, I think the windmill and ending up on top, up there with Coco and the windmill, that is like some Don Quixote stuff. The man of La Mancha windmills, he's going crazy. Siddiq's losing his mind. I got that whole man of La Mancha vibe there. Another hidden clue for me. And the last thing I want to talk about really in this stream, and then we'll carry over some of the recap to tomorrow night, is the obvious nature of how they keep showing us, and we're going to do a pike prediction. We're going to update our pike predictions later on, maybe tomorrow night, but I'll update you guys on the streams. Last night was probably the third scene in a row, maybe the fourth, where I've seen either pikes on the bridge, pikes on a border as a marking. And look, I know they have to have boundaries, but somebody asked in a stream last night and said, well, what makes you think that there's going to be another lineup or another set of pikes? Well, one, the introduction shows at least 4 heads, and then it zooms into 2. Dead on Leprechaun, thank you for that super chat. Appreciate that, my man. That's almost like a Terra timer. Dead on Leprechaun used to do a Terra timer when we were counting down her death. I think now it's going to be like a new pike death countdown. So if we see all these pikes, and we see at least 4 from the wide angle and then 2, and Alpha's already said that they need to mark the border, I'm pretty sure it's about time to start adding some people here. It doesn't seem like our group is getting the hint that you cannot cross. And if they've crossed several times and Alpha's already told them how many times, why do they keep doing it? You know somebody's watching you. So the last question I'm going to ask you guys tonight is it possible that Daryl and Carol crossed without someone seeing it? What do you think the chances are? Every single time they've crossed, they've been caught. Do you think this is the one time that they crossed and they didn't get spotted? Or do you think this is the straw that broke the camel's back? That now there's certainly going to be conflict. And I said that would be the last question. But is it okay if somebody that we like dies, can I blame Carol? That's going to be the last thing. Because Carol is doing her own thing. And my point is, why don't we just get everybody together, storm in there, kill them? There's more of us than there are of them. I know they have walkers, but if you can find out where their camp is, just go in and steamroll them. Don't keep going in 2 people at a time. Because Alpha has got some vicious stuff planned up her stream. But up her sleeve, sorry. But I do think Negan is still going to be our beacon of hope. Let's just hope that Negan does not have to carry out some despicable deed in order to keep his cover with Alpha. So we're going to leave it right there. We're about 50 minutes into tonight's stream. As we said, we start out with some Easter eggs, some hidden clues, a little bit of recap, a little bit of news, brand new stream. If you guys had a good time, both streams tonight, do me a favor, give this video a thumbs up. We're going to be back tomorrow night with 2 more Walking Dead topics. I will hint a little bit that we're going to have a little bit of Eugene conversation tomorrow night. We're also going to do an extended recap to cover the rest of the parts that we didn't fully get over tonight. So I want to thank you guys for being here. If you guys are going to be here all week long, we will be doing our thing Wednesday night. We're going to have some bold predictions for you guys as well. Thursday night, we're going to get some confirmed spoilers for everybody. And of course, Friday, we're going to be doing our Freestyle Friday topic with our Play Dead Live. It's going to be River Rage. Going to look for some really solid players. It's going to be an experienced level campaign. It's going to be our most advanced so far. I'm looking forward to decision making and all the things that you guys are going to be able to partake in. Thanks so much. Once again, I'll see you guys all tomorrow at 7:30. Special shout out to our Patreon Army, to our PDL sponsors as well. If you guys want to be a PDL player or PDL sponsor or patron, there's a link down below. Our Green Team, do me a favor, Green Team. Can I get a shot of Angela Kang up on the screen from the Green Team? If you guys want to join, there's a join button. You get custom badges that signify how long you've been a member, and also custom emojis. Our moderators, Emmy, Steph, Tommy, Kells. And I want to do one last shout out. I know we do this every once in a while, but I got another 60 seconds or so. So everybody gives me a 999. I want to give the biggest shout out to as many people as I can. You are the 999 Army, and I appreciate you guys being here each and every night. I just want to prove that I'm not under the weather any longer and see how many shout outs I can do. So I want to say thank you to Lisa E., Ron Burgundy Moore, William Rayner, Joey the Gator, Heart of Nixie, Viola McGowan, Gina Crockett, thank you, DeMilo Young, Steph the Cuervo Queen, Rick Grimes, Jessica Gonda, Maurice Gamble, Julia Muse, Ruth Voorhees, thank you, Jack Carr, Walani, thank you, Bamber Kitty, Dead on Leprechaun, Tommy Manbun, McCandless, Jacob S. It went too fast for me. Speech, thank you for being here. Who else we got? Marcia Derbyshire, thank you. Planet Earth. The Walking Dead Nerd. Omicron, thank you. Good to see you. Angela G. Donnie D. Train. Roxanne Dunlap. Samantha Coombs. Rebecca Briggs. Lisa C. Thank you for being here. Northside Queen. Thank you. Hey, you know what? I know everybody can't make it every single night, but appreciate you guys that can get here when you can. Marcia Cooper, thank you. Nice little cat emoji. Appreciate that. If I miss you guys in a shout out, I will certainly catch you guys in the next stream. Diana C., thank you. Amanda Goss, appreciate you. Karen Reif, like knife. Tracy Bledsoe, have a good night. Newfield 12, thank you. Francine, Los Toco, thank you. Appreciate that. Love you being here in the chat, so certainly want to give you a shout out. Talon, thank you. Glad you love the streams. Appreciate you guys being a part of it. James Kelly, always a pleasure, my man. And I think I got a good portion of everybody. If I missed you, also, when this video goes live, jump in, leave some of your comments below. Thank you, Debbie Feaster. Almost missed you at the very end, but I will catch all of you guys, Lynn Nesvik as well, tomorrow night at 7:30. You guys have a great night. Peace.